Do you know what's the talent that has allowed Vladimir Putin to remain at the very top of Russia's political system? Not running the economy, not building the military, not negotiating geopolitics, far from all of that. His one and only talent is managing rival political clans of Russia. And Vladimir Putin, the graduate of the Higher Academy of the KGB of the USSR, former Russian spy in the East Germany, and former head of the KGB, is absolutely brilliant at that. He's been able to manipulate and balance the political forces to remain on the very top. Only today that balance is cracking. The secret police KGB is gaining more control, and Vladimir Putin is losing control. The political system of Russia, the one Putin crafted and polished himself, is collapsing. The end is nearing. I promise you, you will like this video today. Howdy, howdy, everyone. My name is Konstantin. Welcome to Inside Russia, where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. I am Russian by birth, analyst by choice. I lived it, I studied, and I report it. I make Russia make sense. No BS propaganda or lies here. Or AI content for that matter. Just the truth, common sense, and logic. And some emotions too. Because I'm living through the tragedy of my country's demise. And it's very unfortunate. In order to understand why Vladimir Putin is in so much trouble, and he is, I believe he is, and let me explain that. But in order to understand, you need to know how the political system of Russia, the political system he's built, works. I promise I'll be very brief. Now, Russian system consists of the different political forces. Putin himself, the grand architect, the arbiter, the judge, the distributor. Many among the elite call Putin simply Papa. It's Russian for Don. Then there's Siloviki, the security services, those government agencies that are armed and can legally use violence against regular citizens. Then the technocrats or liberals in the government, those who actually make Russian government, well, Russia as a country, run. you know. Then the United Russia political party and the regional elites, those who supervise and obey the orders and execute the orders. And finally, the oligarchs in the big business. All are tied in together into one system. Main rules of the games of this game of Russian politics are very simple. Number one, Putin as supreme arbiter. He distributes resources and positions, and he takes care of the conflicts within power clans. Number two, if you obey, there's enough resources for you in the system. Number three, not one clan becomes too strong. And number four, obey Papa. You are in the system for as long as you play by the rules and obey those above you. And Papa, of course, is above everyone else. Now, please understand that all members of today's system at the very top, the key players, the key figures, are former members of the Communist Party of the USSR. Only when the USSR was still alive, not well, but alive, in the late 70s and 80s, when they were starting out their careers, they were at the very bottom. and by some miracle, they climbed to the very top. Now, the Communist Party, former Communist Party of the USSR, is the skeleton of the current political system of Russia. These people, Putin and those around him, those he who placed on top to be next to him, that's all they know. Okay, so they dusted off those blueprints, old blueprints, and built their own system, the same one. There is the Communist Party of the USSR in today's Russia. It's called the United Russia political party that's headed by Vladimir Putin and Dmitry Medvedev. You know, the United Party plays the same role as the Communist Party of the played in the USSR. Now, that out of the way, you need to understand who is running Russia now. The great cardinal and the architect of the system. Well, one of the very few. Now, if you follow Russia, if you follow my live streams and videos, if you follow my daily news, 9 news that I find significant at Patreon account of Inside Russia, you know, and if you follow others who talk about Russia, you probably know a lot of what's going on. But I bet this name you don't hear that often. The name is Sergei Kirienko. He became the prime minister of Russia when I was still going to college. Yes, he's not extremely old. He's one of the younger guys. And he had a brilliant career under Boris Yeltsin. He became the prime minister back in 1998. I'm not going to dive deep into his career. He did his stages. He jumped high, then he fell down. He was exiled in the political system. He was sent to be a president representative in one of the provinces. And then somehow he managed to meet Putin, charm Putin, and forced Putin to listen to him. And Putin brought him to the very top. He made him his advisor, unofficial advisor. Now, Kirienko holds the position of the deputy head of the presidential administration. He oversees domestic politics. He installs governors, mayors. He is in charge of the propaganda projects. He's in charge of the education paradigm of Russia. He has been changing it in the last few years. He's in charge of all the ideology of Russia, and he's in charge of the election system in Russia. Elections on all levels, including the presidential election. Yes, that's his responsibility. Now, Sergei Kirienko's power tools are controlling appointments. He appoints governors, mayors, heads of state corporations, heads of state banks. He curates political technologists, those in charge of propaganda movements such as youth movements. He's in charge of Z patriots, Z patriotism in projects in Russian government. He controls Russia through people he places to all political posts in the country. So you understand, everyone who is at different levels of the hierarchy of power in Russia owns his or her job to Sergei Kirienko. Not him personally, but his office. The administration of the president, Administraция президента, or it's nicknamed Apteka, the pharmacy. Okay, and I'll call it the pharmacy for it comes from shortening the administration of the president, you know. So the pharmacy controls all political appointments. Not one fly can fly around the pharmacy unnoticed. That's analogy. Now, why do elites fear Sergei Kirienko? Because Putin himself listens to Kirienko. Imagine Vladimir Putin sitting on his throne and Sergei Kirienko standing a little behind on the side, whispering to Vladimir Putin's ear. And Vladimir Putin listens to him. And he makes decisions based on the information that Sergei Kirienko puts into his ear. That's why everybody in Russia who is fearful of Sergei Kirienko. Well, you know what? Was until recently, because it's about to become interesting. Now, I'm just giving you the theory, so to speak, but you need to know the theory to understand what will follow. That's quite shocking. Now, Sergei Kirienko can take you from dirt and promote you to governor. Or, if you're existing governor, he can block your career forever and throw you into dirt. That's what Sergei Kirienko in Russia today. Man number one after Vladimir Putin. If you want any serious position in Russia, any serious post, you go through Kirienko's office. Now, since you know the political system of Russia and who is in charge of it, and if you are enjoying it so far, please hit the like button now and subscribe to the channel. That helps many more people to see this message. And also, after this video is over, please leave a comment telling us which part of the world you're watching this video from. You know, I go through most of the messages, and it's very interesting and very pleasant to read all the places. It warms my heart, really. I imagine the Inside Russia community, and it's a global one. It's really the entire globe, so please do that. Even though in the past some of you might have already done that, please do it again. Very, very, very interesting and fascinating. And other people reading your comments, they also get fascinated. Now, a couple lines of encouragement would be also pleasant. Saying, hey, Konstantin, doing a good job, job is important and things like that. And, tea or coffee would be nice. I love English tea, and I drink black Americano coffee every single morning. One, no sugar, no cream, nothing, no milk, just black. Thank you very much, friends. Now, Russian political system has existed for the past 25 years. Vladimir Putin was appointed to the president. No, he was not elected. He was appointed by Boris Yeltsin's family. He's managed to change that existing system, to craft his own system, the new one. He's meticulously built it. He's built the vertical of power, and that's how it is now. Now, a very interesting thing started happening recently, a very new development. I promise, this is where it gets interesting. The arrests. All of a sudden, the arrests of the officials started. It all started with unusual deaths all over Russia and abroad. And first deaths were of those who were in charge of money and who knew where the money went. The financial managers of large state-owned corporations such as Gazprom, the oil companies, and so forth. But then, regular officials of different caliber started getting arrested and started dying mysterious deaths. United Russia officials, well, all officials who hold any kind of position of power in Russia, big or small, are members of the United Russia political party. That's the new Communist Party of the USSR. In the USSR, you had to be a member of the Communist Party if you wanted to make a career in nomenclature, right? That's the same thing now. The regional elites, people who were approved by Kirienko's system. Even the military men, the generals, started getting arrested. There was a very strong political clan, military clan, headed by Sergei Shoigu, former Minister of Defense. Well, Shoigu was fired, and all his team, political team, support team, has been destroyed. His deputies were arrested and sentenced to very, very lengthy terms. And some died mysterious deaths. That's just one example for you. That's something new. It never happened before. Before, all those who were part of the United Russia party and those who were who is who in the political system of Russia, they had a certain degree of immunity from the law. They were not arrested, they were fired. Okay, because firing them was punishment in itself, because they were removed from the system, therefore they could not use their powers to enrich themselves. And that's like punishment already. But then, in the last couple years, they started getting arrested. And the arrests started intensifying in the last 6 months. And it's not just random mayors or mid-level bureaucrats. It starts touching people inside the party backbone. For example, a former governor of Rostov-on-Don, Rostov province, has been investigated. A governor, former Kursk governor, has been arrested, charged, and under trial right now. One of Russian parliament's senators was arrested last week. And I'm just telling you the fairly fresh and powerful arrests. Former deputies, Minister of Defense, multiple ones have been arrested. Some war generals have been arrested and sentenced to lengthy prison terms, okay? It's touching people at the very top. And I'm not even talking about the slew of arrests at the lower level, at the provincial level. Every province has someone or quite a few people arrested. And in my Friday news reports, every week on Friday or on weekend, I come up with a news report. I talk about that, and it's a permanent feature of my reports, arrests. Can you imagine that? Every single week, I know for sure that someone will be arrested, okay? So if you go and see my yesterday's news update that I did, they were 4 high-ranked arrests, just 1 week. Those cases look coordinated. I don't think they're accidents. No. Before, they would be just fired. Now they are arrested. Who is in charge of arresting them? The KGB. The secret police, KGB. Sometimes the investigative committee, that's another siloviki agency of the government. But most often it's the KGB, because KGB has the most power in Russia among all other siloviki power agencies. And they're certainly not Kirienko's political managers. Now, most of the arrests, they go around Kirienko's office. No one informs Kirienko. No one gets approval. God forbid, it's not 2021 any longer. Okay, it's 2024. In 2025, that's when the arrests are happening. This past 2 years, there's no need to coordinate with Sergei Kirienko, or so that seems. The KGB acts on its own or under someone else's political cover. Most often, that's cover comes from the very top. Now, this doesn't look good inside the system on different levels. It's actually it's a tragedy for them because, well, for example, for regional elites, it was a very strong understanding that all the decisions in the provinces were made inside presidential administration, inside the pharmacy. All appointments, all firings, all changes, they were made at the pharmacy. Today, men in uniform come and decide the elite's fate. This is a direct challenge to Sergei Kirienko. This is the power struggle in its purest form. There was one power clan inside a totalitarian government that was at the very top. They had most power, and it's being replaced by another power clan. That is incredibly dangerous to Vladimir Putin because these power clans are different. The political power clan had no real power, no guns. It only had pens in hands of the managers. And by the way, the United Russia Party is located where the Politburo of the USSR was located in the USSR. Imagine that, in the very same buildings right next to the Kremlin. I've been there, I know. Oh, now, this is the power struggle in the purest form. Kirienko's main asset, his control over appointments, therefore maintaining the balance of stability inside this political system. He brings order, well, he used to bring order to regional, provincial politics for Vladimir Putin. And that order gave the stability to Putin and gave Kirienko the control. When his people are arrested, it signals the rules of the game are different. The guarantees that the pharmacy gave to those placing them in different chairs no longer stand. The network of those political appointees, instead of asset, becomes liability. Now, that's for Kirienko. For regional elites, they must be asking right now, why should I be loyal to Kirienko if he can't protect our kind from the KGB, from the secret police? Okay? The deal was different when he placed me into this chair. Okay, he gave me immunity. I had to play by his rules, obey him and, Papa, but he would give me protection. Now, he doesn't give me protection, so what do I do? And for the secret police KGB, each arrest is a way to expand influence into the provinces, get caught of budgets and businesses, because once someone is arrested, the KGB has a say of the next person who is placed on that chair. Okay, person is gone. the state position, the post, still stays intact, and someone needs to be, that place needs to be filled. Someone needs to be placed into that chair. And for people, regular people who are far from the politics and all this game, it's probably a shock. They're asking themselves the question, what the hell is going on? Because all those arrests, at least quite a few of them, are televised. They try to hide the biggest arrests. But I mean, how can you hide an arrest, right? How can you hide when the former governor, gets arrested? You can't. The word gets out. And the biggest question people ask is, what the hell is going on? Today he was a governor. For years we were hailing him, and he was the hero of the system. And yesterday was a governor, and today he's arrested. Turns out that he's charged with corruption. He's stolen hundreds of millions of dollars. Therefore, he was crook while we were hailing him. He was stealing from us. He's a crook. Now, who is in charge of the political system? The president. It means that the president made the mistake placing them in that chair. Oh, wait a second. We thought that the president doesn't make mistakes. So it looks incredibly bad for the political system and for Vladimir Putin in people's eyes, regular people's eyes. Now, they don't play a major role in Russian politics yet. They might in the future. Not yet, though. But now they start understanding that with so many arrests of those who were considered honorable people, the members of the system and the vertical of power yesterday, now they're crooks, they're arrested, sentenced, and their money is confiscated, property is confiscated. They start understanding the system is rigged. When the KGB starts arresting the United Russia elites, it's not for fighting corruption. It's rewriting the hierarchy inside the regime. And now more and more people understand that. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you what it means for Putin's control. Now, I think that this is very dangerous for Vladimir Putin personally. I will try to break it down into 3 parts. Number 1, Putin has always positioned himself as the neutral judge, the arbiter of the political elites. Above everyone, there is no one at his level. He's the only one. Everyone underneath him. Okay? And he always distributed resources, and he decided conflicts. He made decisions. If one group, especially the secret police or another Silovik agency, can humiliate another, for example, Kiriyenko, the pharmacy, or the United Russia Party, without consequences, it means that Putin looks weaker in the system. And every time that happens, Putin looks weaker and weaker. Now, other groups start testing boundaries too. And the more and stronger they do it, the stronger should be Putin's response to keep everyone at bay. Number 2, fear shifts from the Kremlin to the secret police KGB. Earlier, the question among everyone in the Russian state was this: will the Kremlin do that? Will the Kremlin like that or not? Now they're thinking, will the secret police come for me? You see the difference? loyalty to Putin becomes less important than fear of arrest. And that is the corrosion of the foundation of Putin's vertical of power. Because absolute must, and I told you the rules of the game, absolute must. Loyalty to Putin, you can do whatever you want. If you're loyal, in other words, if you obey orders, you get away with murder. Literally. Look at what happened to Nemtsov. We all know who did it. And he got away with murder, okay? The biggest crime, disloyalty. But now, the fear of arrest, avoiding the arrest, becomes number one, the most important thing. Number three, this system that Putin has built thrives because it's very predictable. It's very simple to understand for everyone who gets in. You know, you get in, here's your place in the system, and here are the rules for you. You follow the rules, you get the reward. You don't follow the rules, you get thrown out of the system. Now, with all this chaos is going on, the secret police taking on Kirienko, the system becomes less predictable. And that is not good. More personal vendettas appear, more blackmail, more power struggle. Business elites, regional elites start hedging, moving money out. Some start running, preparing escape routes or escaping. They show less initiative. They're trying to find safe haven because they are afraid that one night the secret police KGB shows up at their door and goes, knock, knock, we've come for you. Now, what do you think more dangerous for the system in the long run? Kirienko's technocrats, all those people he's placed, his assets throughout Russia, or the secret police KGB? Please let me know down in the comments. Now, I would like to briefly talk of the scenarios, what might happen. This power struggle will definitely lead Russia to some place. I will offer you three possible scenarios. Number one, Putin strikes back. Putin manages to get the control back, to rebalance the system. You can call it soft restoration or, something like that. Putin finds a dialogue with everyone. He stops arrests. He sacrifices few scapegoats. He calms everyone down. He restores the main principle of his system, that everyone is equal as long as they are obedient and loyal. The system, in this case, would survive, but it would become more nervous, more paranoid. That still would be okay for Putin. So, scenario number two. The security, the system, the secret police KGB will take the upper hand. In this case, arrests will not only continue, but they will intensify. Kirienko's people will lose power because everyone will know that no matter who in the vertical of power, not in Siloviki, person is, no matter what place he holds, a governor, a mayor, a local representative, the senator, a member of the higher committee of the United Russia Party. It doesn't matter. The KGB can still come and exercise its power. It can arrest and throw to prison, confiscate everything, and, fine. The United Russia political party, in this case, would turn into just a shell. the real power would move to the uniforms. And Russia, in this case, would slide into a more open police state, a very strong one, kind of like the police state before the Politburo emergence, the police state under Joseph Stalin. And scenario number 3, fragmentation and future crisis. Now, political clans, part of them are Siloviki and part of them are oligarchs, big businesses, the political figures and so forth. They're far from stupid. I mean, they have this gut sense of survival. That very sense has placed them high up into Putin's hierarchy, has allowed them to get power. Okay, and they're monitoring what's going on now, and they wouldn't wait until the KGB would come knocking on their door. They would if that continues, they would start taking actions. The clans would start fighting over the resources, and the resources now shrinking. Remember, one of the first rules I told you is there is enough resources for everyone. Don't worry, as long as you're obedient and loyal, you'll get your share. Well, that's no more. That's the biggest irritator right now. The pie is shrinking. Therefore, the fight for the money, for the resources, for the provinces, for the budgets, for the positions, the minister positions, they call it minister suitcases and so forth, intensifies, and it will intensify. There will be clan wars. We have not seen them, at least they have been power struggles, I call them, clan struggles. There will be clan wars with blood. Just to give you an example, the Attorney General of Russia, Krasnov, recently was relieved of his duty and moved as the head of the Supreme Court of Russia. Now, he is the representative of Igor Sechin clan. That's a power clan. Igor Sechin is the owner of Russia's and one of world's largest oil companies, long-time assistant to Vladimir Putin, his personal assistant dating way back in early 90s, okay? He's one of the strongest people in Russia. And he's certainly not a friend of Kiriyenko. He holds incredibly strong resource, the money from the oil trade. He employs a few generals of the KGB. Is pretty tough guy, one of the biggest, strongest clans in Russia. Now, the guy who replaced Krasnov and became the Attorney General of Russia was not Sechin's person. It was Dmitry Medvedev's person. Dmitry Medvedev is the head of another Russian power clan. Medvedev was the president of Russia, after all. Okay, he's still, despite him becoming a clown, he still holds a lot of power in Russian hierarchy, okay? So this is the example of the struggle of the clans. So there will be wars. When a big shock comes, for example, a military defeat, economic collapse of some kind, recession, crisis, things like that, I call these events, possible events, a black swan. And this event will come. One of them, I don't know which one, I don't know when, I bet it's 2026, but it will come. The system will have no referee nor grand judge left. Everyone is going to be against everyone, and it's going to be a huge bloody mess. That's where real instability and potential collapse, political collapse, start. And again, I believe it's going to happen in 2026. Now, I gave you 3 scenarios. Which scenario do you think the most realistic and why? Please let me know down below in the comments. And I have some news for you, by the way. The news is that despite being under tremendous pressure from Russian state, from all the power clans, yeah, I'm just sitting here, in front of this camera, despite being followed by the secret police KGB here in the country where I live, despite Putin's close associate, the ideologist of the Russian world philosophy, Alexander Dugin, threatening me online and insulting me, despite Google going after me as well. I demonetizing me. Yeah, I don't know why. That's a fact. I am still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still kicking around, and I still sit in front of this camera every day, and I give you the truth. I'm on my mission. I give you a promise that I will go on. Thank you, friends. Now, what does it mean for ordinary Russians and for the war in Ukraine? For ordinary people, I mentioned this briefly before, there will be more lowliness. We have been seeing it for past couple years, but it'll intensify. The same law will have different consequences depending on which clan controls people's region, province. There will be less social support, because the less social support, the more money left for the clans. There will be more pressure on regular people, such as fines, more taxes, more mobilization, more draft. And the system will be becoming less and less balanced. Therefore, there will be more and more chaos, and people will be left with more and more questions. And the biggest question is, of course, what the hell? We're surrounded by the crooks. And if the crooks are around us and the Putin is overseeing everyone, okay, then what is Putin's role in all of this? Okay, so I like that. I forecast people will be asking more and more questions. Some say it waking up. Well, call it whatever you want. Now, what it will mean for the war? The secret police will become stronger. It means that the military will become weaker. The secret police will be pulling more and more resources to itself. It means smaller and smaller resources will be available to the armed forces. Now, we are seeing what's happening. The generals are arrested and blown up. And some deaths are very questionable. I mean, there is no clear understanding who did that, I think that it will be a blow to the Russian armed forces. Perhaps not a blow, but perhaps weakening of Russian armed forces. The focus of attention, the focus of political fight will be inside Russia, not in the front lines. And that's good. And the elites will become more and more divided. Because once you don't have the rules of the game, you start living like it's the last day, right? I mean, it's very logical for not just for the elite groups, it's for each one of us. If we don't know, if there is no stability, no rules of the game, then we just live like there's no tomorrow. The more chance there's, the less stability, the more chances of a future crisis, the more chances of a black swan appearing. Black swans are actually very good animals. Birds. I like them. Every time I see a black swan, I applaud. Said, hey, great. If you know what I mean. So, when the system fights itself, it becomes weaker. That's a very universal rule for anything and anyone, and that's what we're seeing in Russia. Vladimir Putin will go one day. And Russia, after Putin, is being prepared not by the opposition in Russia. Opposition is gone. It's been eradicated inside Russia. And that opposition that is outside Russia, they're not a real force in my eyes. So there's no real opposition forces. And the changes are being prepared not by the opposition, but by the internal decay of this system, of the regime. The KGB is rising. The Stalin times are back. Only the difference right now is that this is the beginning of the Stalin times. You know, Stalin didn't start with the terror. He started with arrests and convictions. And that's what we're seeing right now. This is a very serious and very real threat to Vladimir Putin. Personally. To him personally, to his power, to his presidency. Perhaps the biggest one so far. Now, I saw the signs of Putin's weakening back in 2023, but then he managed to bounce back. Now he is in much bigger problems than 2023. Now, friends, please don't sign off yet. I invite everyone to continue in the live stream chat where I will gladly answer your questions, well, as many as I can. Please give me another 20 minutes of your time, and I promise you I'll make it worthwhile. And as I am turning the live stream chat on, I would like to remind you that every single day you can find 9 news that I find absolutely significant for current day Russia. I make them available to patrons of Inside Russia along with my commentaries and analysis when needed. And the news that most likely, most of them you will not find in any mainstream media. So if you want to stay on top of things Russia, consider becoming Patreon of Inside Russia. And it's also a way to support the channel. And I make personal private live streams every week on Saturdays where we hang out, more personal, more relaxed, unlike this goal-oriented, message-oriented live streams every day. Saturday is, we call them the virtual pub hangouts of Inside Russia. So become a patron and join us. Thank you. And I am ready to turn the live stream on. It's actually on. And I would like to say thank you to the moderation team of Inside Russia, a wonderful Lorna, Mammy K, Bob S, Harry Potnin, and Amir, Fazat. Thank you very much, friends, for supporting me every single day, for keeping this live stream chat, this community really clean and pleasant for everyone. The rules are very simple. Don't mess with others. Do not discuss US politics, and be respectful and nice to other people. That's it. Very simple. Thank you. And if you want me to see your comments or questions easier and faster, please put them in all caps and put them after put Inside Russia after @ so they're highlighted in orange for me. Large orange box. I can see that much, much easier. Thank you so much. Welcome the usual suspects, the pillars of Inside Russia. Thank you. Fantastic to see everyone. So I see who's popping. Justiri, Jodes, Bakerstock, H.R. Rooney, Tyler Douglas, Ron Gravel, and of course the mods, Lorna, Mammy K, Harry Potnin. Ian from Belgium, Ian. Mr. Kaliskin from the Windy City, long time no see. Andrew Hodson from South Africa, Roy Cousins, Leitmotif, Nelson Bandela, howdy howdy, Faith Russert from Spain, Pamela J, the Pillar of Pillars, Scott Nesbitt, good to see you, Alu, Thomas Elliott, Justeri, first question, Will it cause more personal armies to be developed? Yes, yes, I believe so. Now, Terry, a little insight on personal armies. Putin is very afraid of the personal armies. He's been trying to keep the personal armies under control. Now, two personal armies have been dissolved, as far as I know. Quite a few remain. One of the strongest one is definitely the Chechens, the personal army of Ramzan Kadyrov. That's the best equipped army, about from 70 to 80,000 fighters. The cream of the crop, the Sardukars, really. Um, well, yes. Putin can't do much about them. He's afraid. Now, Sergei Sobyanin, the mayor of Moscow, maintains his own army. There are a few other armies. And I think right now everyone in power is trying to get their own troops, their own armies. And there's a struggle inside the system for keeping the armies at bay. And by looking at the armies, we also understand who is in power, who is strong among the clans. For example, Sergei Sobyanin, Moscow's mayor, is very strong. No one really takes a move at his army. No one tries to dissolve it, to have it join the Ministry of Defense and so forth. No one, does anything about Ramzan Kadyrov's army. Things like that. But Sparta, that's the army was. It was. It belonged to one of the It was financed by one of the oligarchs. It's been dissolved. So this is a sign of the political struggle. Good question, Terry. Thank you so much. A son of MRE, another brilliant broadcast. Thank you very much. I've tried. I find this topic very important. Okay, I find it a big threat to Vladimir Putin, and I think this is. I've said many times. I don't believe that the win for Ukraine comes from the front lines. I believe it'll come from inside Russia, and that's exactly what I meant. The current system gets disbalanced. A part of it grows stronger, eats other parts. Boom. Kevin, thank you so much for the nice words. Sensei Konstantin, thank you. Tyler Douglas, howdy. Bob, thank you for reminding everyone no U.S. political topics. Well, we're discussing Russia, really. Why would anyone bring U.S. politics? Please don't even try. Thank you. Nina from Norway, thank you so much for coming. H.R. Rooney, thank you. Dalamo, greetings. Nelson Bandela, any plans for the holidays? No plans for the holidays. I am Russian. No one really takes me. I would like to fly to Paris and have Christmas near the Eiffel Tower. Or I would love to fly to Rome, take my son to see the Forum. But I'm not allowed. Or I would love to fly to Greece, because I love Greece. No such luck. Disney World would be nice. London by the Big Ben would be fantastic, but you know what? Konstantin is out of luck. Please forgive me for that. That was a spontaneous, unrehearsed. Frankie 2026. Fantastic question. How much time do you think the wealth fund of Russia will last? Good morning, Frankie. It's gone. It will not last any because it's not there. The only part they have is some gold and some yuans, Chinese yuans. And they cannot sell gold much. Well, there's not much left there, really, just peanuts. But they can't sell it easily because it's sanctioned by everyone in the world. They can only sell by small parts. That's not going to make much of a difference. And Chinese yuan, they will not spend it, so it's gone, Frankie. It's gone. It will not last any longer. It's been gone for a few months, by the way. Andres Benz, good Abend. 26 degrees in Chicago. Sunny. Snow is starting to melt. Snow is not something I'd like to see. Thank you. It's raining in Tashkent today. And what is this? About 55, 57 degrees Fahrenheit in the teen Celsius, something like that. Ron Gravel, is that true that the explosion affected Alexander Lugin's mind and he's not right? Well, I refrain from personal attacks. I don't know. I have not personally met Alexander Dugin. I don't know how he is in his mind. All I know, he's threatened me, he insulted me. But he's not the first one. He's not the only one. Other people have done so. So that's not a sign of insanity. Far from it. Okay, it's different. Just Terry, how are they paying the KGB? Well, first of all, there is federal money. The KGB receives money from Putin. Everyone gets a very handsome salary. There are plenty of perks. The KGB has their own world, okay? Their own hospitals, their own schools for their children, their own kindergartens, tons of social benefits. So the officers are all set financially. But the biggest reward is that they have power to arrest, to start criminal cases, to seize properties. You see where I'm getting at? To seize businesses, okay? Was some businessman built a nice business? We go in and that business becomes ours. You know, new owners, KGB members, wives, friends, you know, nominated people. That's the biggest reward. The power equals money in Russia. That's how they get. That's the ultimate pay. And of course, you know, the salary. Hello, Konstantin. Russians finally standing up against their leader. No, they're not. Oh my goodness. Fig, fantastic to see you. The pillar of pillars of Inside Russia. A long time no see, longest time no see. Look, it's been like 2 or 3 years. I still remember how before the war we had fantastic walk-arounds Moscow and Rostov, and you was such a great member of Inside Russia. And you know what? I miss you. We all miss you. Fantastic to see you back. Thank you for coming. Russians are not standing up against their leader currently, but they are standing up for other things here and there. For car utilization tax, there were protests in Vladivostok. For to get more rights for indigenous people in Yakutia, in Bashkiria, to get internet back in Voronezh, in St. Petersburg. So there were protests here and there, sometimes here, sometimes there. And you know how it goes? It starts with a small fire, and then if there's wind, it can catch up. That was a good question about Black Swan. Have you been taking singing lessons? You have improved. No leitmotif. Last yesterday in my no, not yesterday, on Sunday. Is it Saturday? Anyway, last live stream was, today is Monday, right? So on Saturday afternoon, I did Friday Crazy News Update, and I sang some Beastie Boys there. Sabotage. Go and check it out. That's quite a show, the concert. Pamela, I can't afford Disney World. Well, me neither. I would have to fly there, buy tickets for the family, fly there, stay there in Florida, rent a car, or use public transportation. That doesn't exist in Florida, by the way. Would have to pay entrance tickets, food, and all of that. So I guess a lot of money. But it would be nice, but they don't let me. Thank you so much, Per Haglund, your private army. We're all God's private army. How about that? Hell Porter, dark prophecy indeed, but absolutely sounds likely. Mark my words. Mark my words, friend. This is the info that you want, but nobody else is covering it. But okay, Terry, thank you very much. It is truly the information that no one else is covering. This I am going further than anyone else in this. Okay, so and by the way, I have some insights from Moscow. People at the pharmacy are actually very worried about the arrests. I'm not sure about Kiriyenko, but I'm pretty sure he must be very worried. He must be in panic. Jaredov, thank you so very much for good words. Paul Webster can come over to mine for Christmas dinner if you want. Look, Paul, I would love to. I would be on the plane tomorrow, but the thing is, well, we all know what the thing is, the visa. Do you think they let me? They don't even let me inside the embassy to apply. They look at my red passport and they go, "Oh, you're a Russian citizen." Turn around and go as far to where you came from. Something like that. Can't expats fly places? Indy, not Russian expats. No, they can't. Cold Hunter, hello from Portugal. Howdy, friend. Thank you so much for coming. I know you don't talk about military related topics much. Well, I just don't know much about it. How long do you think Russia can sustain its army? Things are getting worse and worse. I think 2026 is the final year of the acute conflict. Something's got to come and it'll change things. The Black Swan event. Someone asked me here, I'm not seeing this question, I kind of lost it. What do I think that the Black Swan event can be? Can be a bust of a large bank, okay? Can be the bust of a real estate development samolyot. Well, the Black Swan event is the first domino that will fall and it will cause the domino effect, other dominoes to fall. Okay, that's the Black Swan event. That's what I call. Okay, I think it will come in 2026. And by the way, in just 2 weeks, I will make a live stream. I will take my live stream from January 2nd when I made predictions about what was coming to Russia in 2025. And now I'm going to take myself upon my words, my own words, okay? I'll make it entertaining for you. I already know what I'm going to say. I made my quite a few predictions were off, but I was more right than wrong. So please, that's going to be very harsh. I'm going to be harsh on myself, and I'll try to make it entertaining. No singing. I don't want to break anyone's ears. Luigi, I hope you have. I hope to have you one day here in Italy again. Rome, the Eternal City, one of my most favorite places in the world. I'm a big fan of Roman history, ancient Rome history. I studied so much. I know a lot about the topic, and I've been to Rome once, been to Italy quite a few times. Milan, mostly northern Italy, Venice, Milan, but Rome once. Holy mackerel. That's quite the place. Uh I want to bring my son and my daughters and my wife there because they haven't been to Rome. That's just, you walk around the forum and you feel like you are submerged into history of the, not just the world but humankind, really, because we all came from Rome. All right, so I hope to be there one day, but you know what, I might not be because I am Russian. Now, 89 QWYG, I don't believe Russia has gold. Any money with a key to the vaults would make sure to get their cut. Now, I cannot prove or disprove your words right now. I don't know. They claim that there are 2,300 metric tons of gold in Russia's vaults. What I am sure of, when the Black Swan event comes and things start to fall apart, that moment will come when the system will just fall apart, just like in the USSR. And then I believe if there is gold now, it'll disappear. Just like it disappeared in the USSR. Hey, Russia is following the footsteps of the USSR. You know, literally, it's making the same steps. The gold disappeared in the USSR. It will disappear from Russia. 2,300 metric tons. That's a lot of gold. It will disappear. Harry, thank you so very much. Yes, yes. We have the three up: Michael and Natasha and Dasha. Not me. I usually don't. I was preparing for this live stream. Now, please, people, don't bring up Donald Trump here. This is not American politics. You know, why? Why do you do that? Eggwark, what would be a trigger for a Black Swan event? Well, I already answered that question. It could be anything. It could be a bunk bust. It could be real estate developers самолет bust. That's coming, by the way. Both bank busts and самолет busts are coming. Now, there's just two events right from the very top of my head, you know, right there. Others, could be a death of a high ranked official. More than a minister. We've seen the death of the minister in July. We saw it in July. Nothing happened. Okay, could be we need someone more important than that. That also could be a Black Swan event. Shiva, hello from Belgium. Sending my love to Belgium. What do you think of those Russian assets frozen in Belgium in Euroclear? French banker working for Euroclear does regular trips to Russia. I mean, what can I think about those funds? There are ways to get those funds to put them into the good use. Okay. And I think that a way to do that is to insure. So Russia doesn't sue Belgium. I don't think it can, but they've been saying that it would go after individuals in Belgium. For 2 years, Russia was silent. It was acting as if those funds were gone, and they were gone, okay? and no one was counting. Now they're seeing that the USA is getting weaker and Europe is getting weaker, and Putin is doing his thing. We see the weakness, and he starts striking, trying to put fear. That's what he's doing. All you have to do is just take it. That's all. What are they going to do to you? Swan Lake already playing on Russian TV. Nothing I know of. Christy Bauer, Russia is proudly Christian. Ooh, that's quite a statement. How do you know? Paul, I'm surprised they're not trading the remaining gold reserves to wealthy Russians for money crypto to be liquidated in the market or to asset hold in the... They can't. They cannot sell it in the market. Sell it in the market because it's sanctioned. And they've been selling small parts to the Indians mostly, but then they can't sell large chunk of it. Ron, do you see China lending money to Russia at guaranteed to fail rates so they can grab land? No. No, Russia is not lending money. China is not lending money to Russia. Get that right. China, if it wants to, it can grab Russia's land tomorrow. I think they're just waiting for a chance, or perhaps they will buy the elites, and the elites will just allow China to use Russia's land without grabbing it. So that's a possibility. Largo, Florida. Whoa. Pamela, that's you. Okay, finally rained. Good, good, good. Let me take one more question and Sam. That's a tricky question. How much would it cost to send a real traffic light there? It would look great in the background. I don't know. You tell me. Leitmotif, no equivalent of Fort Knox. The goals are stored. There is information about the reserves in the central bank, but I don't know where the Russian. That's a good question. I should investigate. The last question now from Deborah. I'm hearing that there are less police in Siberia, weakening state control in the east. Thoughts? Plenty. Curious also about the policeman arrested for anti-Russian statement. Now, there is less police all over Russia, but because police is underpaid, the policemen are underpaid. Right now, around unofficial statistics, I think the last official I heard was 150,000 policemen missing. In reality, probably over 200,000 policemen. Simply, the police force is short of 200,000 people. But that is not weakening state control. Get that right, Deborah. That is very wrong to say that the police force is bringing the state control to Russia. No, no, and no. Police has little to do with the state control. Whoever tells you that doesn't really know what's going on in Russia. The police is the weakest siloviki agency. In Russia's term, and I heard that in Russia, I was talking to a state prosecutor, and he told me, we rub our feet at the police, okay? There are so many siloviki agencies above the police, and they're the ones who keep in the control. Police is just to control the streets, to control the roads, things like that, It's needed for dirty work. It's called the dirty agency. So no, that is very wrong. Okay, sorry for being emotional, but so thank you. Don't be misled. Friends, Russia and China fully arming Venezuela. Well, good luck to Venezuela, you know. But thank you very much for coming today. I invite everyone to finish this live stream with a prayer. Whether you're religious or not, please join me. You can call the prayer anything you like. To me, it's all the same. There are quite a few people right now watching, 4,200. Thank you very much for coming, and let's pray. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for giving us food you placed on our tables, and thank you for the roofs you've given over our heads. Thank you for all love in our lives, for our families. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. Give us wisdom to raise our children in a way that when they grow up, they become peaceful people and will never fight in any war, and just make this world a better place. For now, please keep our children safe and healthy. Thank you. Dear Lord, I am asking for Ukraine. Please help bring peace to the country. Ukrainians need peace. Reach out and touch the hearts of those responsible and capable of the decision to make peace, and have them wake up from their lethargic sleep, realize what tragedy they have caused, and make that decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who suffered in this terrible tragedy answer their prayer and make prayers and make their wishes come true. Dear Lord, I am asking you to help my country, Russia, assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords, and have Saint Michael in shining armor to lead that heavenly army of yours down to this earth and get rid of the demons who have hijacked my country, Russia, who we know by their names and by their faces. Please send your good angels to help Russian people, good Russian people, to run their country so it becomes peaceful, respecting, and loving. Dear Lord, I'm asking you to help everyone who is traveling, send them safe travels. Help everyone who is in danger of any kind, send them safety, and help everyone who is seeking for political or any other of asylum in anywhere, running away from evil. Send help their way. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians, and help those Ukrainians who are currently under attack from Russian weapons. Please send everyone safety. Dear Lord, help those people who need help. The addicted, the cold, the sick, the hungry, the lonely, the despair, the homeless, the jobless, the ones who are crying, the ones whose hearts are bleeding, the ones who are going through divorce, the ones who cannot see their children as much as they want to, the ones who are suffering, so they're crying, the ones who are losing their faith, the ones who feel abandoned and betrayed by everyone. Please reach out and touch the hearts of those who need help and fill their hearts with love. Help everyone in need. Dear Lord, thank you so much for allowing us to come together and pray here. Thank you for 37,500 people who are praying, and or for those who are simply watching us pray. Thank you. Please answer everyone's prayer and make everyone's wish come true. Dear Lord, I have a list of a few people who need your help, and I'm asking you to help them. They are David Bowen, Bob, Cheryl Boss, Ron Bozoid, Teresa, Jeff, Karsten, Janice, Nelson Bandela, Ray, Rachel, Gail, Anita, Rose Bronicky, Lee and Brenda, Pamela, Bridget, Uli Yun, Victor Garishan, Rod, Helen, TMBC, Larry Barth from Canada, Tony, Ann, Hannah, Jeffrey S. and his family, Katharina, Mark, Tom W., J.R. McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa, Harry, Terry, John, Linda, Paula W., Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Dave, Darla, George, Ruberty, Pamela, Meta, David Porter, his family, and everyone in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natasha, Michael, Jake, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Svetlana, Sergey, Liz, Ron, Koshkendom, Sandra, Mike and Mike, Petra, Joseph, Millie, Philip, Jodes, Eileen, Highwayman, Victor, Derek, Janice, Jeff, Denise Abbott, and Renate. Thank you very much, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, friends, for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance one more time. It is my honor to have you here, to be part of this wonderful community. Thank you. Please come back tomorrow. There will be another message. I would like to tell you how Vladimir Putin and why Vladimir Putin visited India. And he's just returned. Quite the message it will be tomorrow. Thank you so much. I would like to remind you, never forget that. You're awesome and you rock. I love you. Thank you for coming today. At the end, as usual, before you sign off, along with me as loud as you can, the following. Carthago delenda est.